One morning you wake up, but this is not just any morning. It is a morning from 25,000 years ago, the last glacial maximum. The world is frozen. Glaciers are kilometers thick. Europe is an endless frozen wilderness, and you are trying to survive. Outside, the temperature is minus 35 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing at 60 kilometers per hour. The wind chill feels like minus 50 degrees, perhaps even colder. Under these conditions, a modern human might survive for only a few hours, maybe less. But you live here. You have lived here for generations. Tonight, I will tell you that story. The story of how Stone Age humans fought the cold, how they stayed warm, how they found shelter, how they found food, and how they managed to survive. Are you ready? Then come with me as we travel back to the Ice Age. Before we get into the story, most of my viewers fall asleep while watching my videos, which is why my subscriber count is still quite low. So, before the video begins, if you subscribe to my channel and like the video, you would make me very happy. Thank you in advance. Now, let us begin. You open your eyes. It is dark, but not completely dark. A light is coming from deep inside the cave. An orange light, flickering gently. Firelight, the source of life, your only source of heat. If the fire goes out, you will freeze within hours, maybe even faster. Your body is curled up in the fetal position. Your knees are pulled toward your chest. Your arms are wrapped around yourself, because this position exposes the smallest possible surface area of your body. Less surface area means less heat loss. Evolution has forced you to develop this instinct. Those who did not curl up froze. They died. Those who did curl up survived and passed their genes on to the next generation. Beside you are 8 members of your tribe. You are all sleeping very close together. Body against body. Back to back, stomach to back. Because sharing body heat is critical. Someone sleeping alone might be found frozen in the morning. Every night is like this. Sleeping together as a community is a survival strategy. Simple, but effective. You are covered in layers of animal hides. The innermost layer is reindeer hide, thin but insulating. The hairs are hollow, they trap air, and air is one of the best natural insulators. Above that is thick mammoth hide, heavy but warm, and on top is cave bear fur, a massive coat of fur from a bear that stood around 3 meters tall. You killed it last summer during a group hunt. It was a dangerous hunt, but it was worth it, because this fur could save your life during the winter. You take a breath. Cold air enters through your nose. It hurts. It feels like it is burning. Your lungs contract instinctively. Your body is trying to protect itself from the cold. You can see your breath. A thick white cloud forms in front of you. It freezes almost immediately. Tiny ice crystals begin to form. They hang in the air. You look at the walls of the cave. There is ice. A layer of ice covers the walls because the moisture is freezing. It seems to defy gravity. It sticks to the walls. There are icicles hanging from the ceiling, stalactites but made of ice. And they are dangerous. Sometimes they fall. Last month, one of them fell. It almost killed Krog. He was lucky. You want to get up, but your body does not want to. The cold is outside. Here, beneath the animal hides, you are relatively warm. Relatively because it is not actually warm. It is simply not freezing. Maybe 5 degrees, maybe 10. But outside it is minus 35 degrees. A difference of 45 degrees. The difference between life and death. But you have to get up, because the fire needs to be fed. The guards kept it alive throughout the night. Every 2 hours, someone woke up. They added wood. They checked the fire. But now it is morning. The fire has grown weak. The flames have become smaller. And the wood is almost gone. You are on fire duty today. You have to feed the fire. Slowly, you lift the animal hides. The cold attacks immediately. Sharp, merciless. It cuts deep into your body. You begin to shiver uncontrollably. Your body is trying to produce heat. It contracts and relaxes your muscles. Shivering is involuntary exercise. It burns calories. It produces heat, but it is exhausting. If you shiver for too long, your energy will run out. You quickly put on your clothes. The clothes are simple, but effective. The first layer is leather, thin leather, animal hide, reindeer hide. The furry side faces inward. It touches your skin directly. Soft, warm, it absorbs sweat, because sweat can mean death. A wet body cools down quickly, very quickly. The second layer is fur, thick fur, wolf fur or fox fur. The hairs face outward. It blocks the wind. It keeps the snow out. The third layer is even thicker fur, bison fur or mammoth fur. Very thick, very heavy, but life-saving. Your legs use the same system. Layers, leather trousers, fur trousers. Your feet are the most critical, because frostbite usually begins in the feet. They are the furthest points from the center of your body. Blood circulation is weakest there. Your footwear is surprisingly complex. It has several layers. The inside is soft leather. The furry side faces inward. The middle layer is dry grass. Grass is a good natural insulator. The outer layer is thick leather. Waterproof, snowproof. Every evening you replace the grass. Wet grass does not insulate well. Dry grass does. Simple, but critical. Your hands are exposed. Why? Because you need to use tools. Gloves reduce sensitivity. You need bare hands to shape stone. You need them to make fire. You need them to prepare an animal after a hunt. That is why your hands remain uncovered. Are they cold? Very cold. Your fingers become numb. They turn white. The first signs of frostbite. But every so often you put your hands beneath your armpits. You warm them. Then you use them again. Balance. Risk management. Your head is covered with fur. A cave bear fur hood completely covers your ears. It covers the back of your neck. It covers your forehead. Only your face remains exposed. Because you need to see. You need to breathe. You rub animal fat over your face. A thick layer of bear fat. From a cave bear. The fat protects your skin. It slows frostbite. It blocks the wind. Simple, but effective. You are ready, fully dressed, protected by layers of animal hides and fur. And yet, you are still cold, because your clothing is not perfect. It is nothing like a modern parka. There is no synthetic insulation, no Gore-Tex, only animal hide and fur. Primitive, but it is your only option. You walk toward the fire, only a few steps. The cave is small, about 10 meters deep and 5 meters wide. A shelter, a temporary home. Your tribe will stay here for several months, perhaps the entire winter. Then, when spring arrives, you will migrate. You will move to other places. You will follow the animals. The fire is weak. The embers are still glowing. But the flames are small. You need wood. You take some from the pile. Dry wood. It had been stored beside the entrance of the cave. Every day, someone goes outside to collect more wood. It is dangerous work, because the outside world is deadly. But it is necessary. If the wood runs out, the fire goes out. If the fire goes out, you will freeze. You place the wood onto the fire, carefully. Because if you place it badly, you could put the fire out. If you place it correctly, the fire will grow. You are experienced. You have been doing this for years. The pieces of wood are positioned at the right angles. There is airflow. Oxygen reaches the embers. The embers heat the wood. Smoke begins to rise. A thin stream of smoke. Then the wood catches fire. A small flame begins to grow. It spreads. Success. The fire is alive again. Heat reaches your face. You relax. You hold your hands toward the flames. Your palms face the fire. Your fingers begin to warm. The numbness slowly disappears. The pain comes because the blood is returning. Circulation is starting again. The pain is a good sign. If there is no pain, the tissue is dead. If there is pain, the tissue may still be alive and able to recover. There is food beside the fire. Food left from yesterday. Meat. Mammoth meat. The mammoth was hunted 3 days ago. 20 people took part in the group hunt. It was a dangerous hunt, but it was successful. The young mammoth may have weighed around 3 tons. That is a huge amount of meat, enough to last for weeks, perhaps even a month, because meat does not spoil in the cold. The cold acts as a natural freezer. The meat is stored in the snow near the entrance of the cave. Whenever it is needed, a piece is cut off and cooked. You take a piece. It is cold, hard, and almost frozen. You bring it closer to the fire, warm it, and soften it. Then you eat. You chew. Your jaws are working. Strong jaws, large muscles. Because Stone Age humans had much stronger jaw muscles than modern humans. They constantly chewed hard foods, and their muscles became well developed. The meat is fatty, very fatty. That is good because fat provides energy, concentrated energy. 1 gram of fat contains 9 calories. 1 gram of protein contains 4 calories, almost twice as much. Winter requires a lot of calories, a lot of energy. Your body is constantly burning calories just to stay warm, perhaps 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day. A modern human might consume around 2,000 to 2,500, almost twice as much. There is also bone marrow, broken bones, long bones. The marrow has been removed from inside and eaten. Bone marrow is one of the most nutritious parts. It is high in fat. It contains vitamins A, D, and K2.
It is extremely valuable. Nothing is wasted. Meat, bones, marrow, organs, everything is eaten. There is no water, no drinking water. Why? Because the water is frozen. Everything is ice. The rivers are frozen. The lakes are frozen. So how do you drink water? You melt snow or you melt ice. How? With the fire. Snow is placed inside a leather bag. It is brought close to the fire. It melts. It becomes liquid, and you drink it. It is a long process, but it is necessary. Without water, you can survive for only a few days. Eventually, dehydration will kill you. Once breakfast is finished, you plan the day. What needs to be done today? Hunting, collecting wood, making tools, processing hides. Every day brings different tasks, but they all have one purpose: survival. There are no games, no entertainment, no luxury, only survival. Today is hunting day because the meat is running low. Perhaps there is enough for another 10 days. After that, you will need a new hunt. Hunting early is safer. Waiting until the very last moment is risky. If the food runs out, there is hunger. Hunger leads to weakness. Weakness leads to illness. Illness leads to death. A simple chain. You prepare yourselves. 5 hunters, the strongest, the most experienced. Croc is the leader. He is 40 years old, very old, but wise, experienced. You are 30, strong and fast. Drog is 35. a skilled stoneworker, a spear maker. Urk is 25, young and brave. Tak is 28, strong and resilient. The weapons are being prepared, spears, long spears, about 2 meters long. The shaft is made of wood, a straight branch, oak, beech, pine. The straightest branch available is chosen. It is shaped and smoothed. The tip is made of stone, flint, carefully shaped. The Clovis point uses a special technique, the Levallois method. The stone is prepared first, a platform is created, then with a single strike, a broad flake is removed. The edges are then worked with fine, precise strikes. The result is a sharp point, very sharp. With serrated edges, it cuts into flesh easily. It severs blood vessels. The animal quickly becomes weaker. The stone point is attached to the shaft. How? There are several methods. The first is a split. A slit is made at the end of the shaft. The stone point is placed inside. The second is a sinew binding. Animal sinew is flexible when wet. It is wrapped tightly around the point. As it dries, it becomes hard like stone. The third is resin. Resin from birch bark is heated and melted until it becomes sticky. It is spread around the stone point. When it cools, it hardens. A very strong connection. You also have an atlatl, a spear thrower, a wooden shaft about 50 centimeters long with a hook at the end. You attach the back of the spear to it, then you swing the arm. The lever extends your arm. It creates a powerful leverage effect. The spear travels much faster and much farther, perhaps 70 to 80 meters. By hand, maybe only 20 to 30 meters. An incredible difference. This technology changed everything. The atlatl was invented around 20,000 to 1,000 years ago, perhaps even earlier. It increased hunting success many times over. You step outside. The cold attacks you the moment you leave the cave entrance. Instantly, violently. It takes your breath away. The wind is blowing. Strong gusts slam into your face. Ice crystals sting your skin. It is not a snowstorm, but it is cold. Very cold. You look around. White. Everything is white. An endless sea of white. Snow is everywhere. Meters deep in some places. There are no trees, no forests, because this region is tundra, open steppe, only grass, low shrubs, and very few trees, only in the valleys and along the rivers. On the horizon, you can see a glacier, a massive glacier, stretching for kilometers, hundreds of meters high. Blue ice, white ice. The sun reflects off its surface. It shines brilliantly, almost blinding. The ice is slowly moving a few meters every year, but it is unstoppable. It crushes everything in its path, rocks, hills, and valleys. It reshapes the entire landscape. You begin to walk. The snow is deep. Every step sinks into it. It is difficult and exhausting. Sometimes the snow reaches your waist, but you have special footwear. Snowshoes, a wide frame made from wood and branches tied together with strips of leather. Their surface area is increased, distributing your weight. You sink less into the snow. It is still exhausting, but you have no choice. You are hunting. You're looking for tracks, reindeer tracks. One of the most common prey animals. They live in herds. Thousands of animals migrate south and north with the seasons. Now they are here. There are tracks nearby, fresh tracks. Croc reads the tracks. He examines them carefully. He crouches down. He touches the snow with his finger. Fresh, very fresh, perhaps only a few hours old. Which direction? West. How many animals? Croc counts the tracks, 10, maybe 15, a small herd. Good. A small herd is easier to hunt. You follow the tracks silently. As much as possible, you keep the wind blowing toward your faces, because our scent is carried by the wind toward the animals. But if the wind blows from behind us, the animals will smell us and run away. The hunt will be wasted. An hour later, you see them in the distance, reindeer. They are grazing. They are digging through the snow, searching for the lichen underneath. winter food. It is difficult work, but necessary for survival. Croc makes a plan using hand signals. There is no talking because sound carries. The animals would hear you and run away. The plan is simple. Two groups, you, Drog, and Urk, will approach from the right. Croc and Tack will approach from the left. A pincer movement. The animals will be caught in the middle. Their escape routes will be narrowed. Then the attack. The Atlatl. You take up positions at a safe distance, slowly, silently. You hide behind snow-covered rocks and low bushes. You prepare your spears. You hold the Atlatl in your hand. The spear is attached to it. You wait, waiting for Croc's signal, a bird call, a signal from Tak, a raven's call. Twice a sharp, short signal comes. Now, you all stand up at the same time. You shout loudly. The goal is to frighten the animals, to make them panic. The reindeer are startled. They raise their heads. What is happening? Danger. Humans. Run. They start running. But in which direction? They are surrounded. Humans on the right, humans on the left. Panic. Some run forward, others run backward. Chaos. You target the nearest reindeer. A young female, perhaps 80 kilograms. The distance is about 40 meters. A good distance. Ideal for the Atlatl. You raise it. You take aim. You target the side of the reindeer. The lung area, a vital organ, a lethal zone. You pull your arm back, gathering your strength, then forward. With an explosive motion, you launch the spear. It accelerates the spear. You swing it. The spear flies. Fast in a straight line, it hits its target. The spear strikes the reindeer's back, deep, very deep. The reindeer stumbles. It cries out in pain, but keeps running. It is wounded. It is losing blood. With every step, it becomes weaker. The other hunters throw their spears as well. Croc hits his target. Drog hits his target. Urk misses. Tak hits his target. 3 reindeer are wounded. A good result. You run. You follow the wounded reindeer. It is not a long chase. The animals are weakening quickly. Blood loss is critical. After a few hundred meters, the first reindeer falls. The one you struck, it collapses to the ground. It tries to move, but it cannot. Its legs no longer work. You approach. You prepare your second spear. A short spear. A thrusting spear for close range. Croc strikes into the neck. The final blow. The reindeer becomes still. It is dead. The second and third reindeer are killed in a similar way. Within 10 minutes, 3 reindeer have been killed. A successful hunt. A very successful hunt. 3 reindeer. Perhaps 250 kilograms of meat. Maybe more. 2 weeks of food for the tribe. Perfect. But there is a problem. The reindeer are heavy. Carrying 3 reindeer back to the cave is impossible. The solution? Process them here, butcher the meat on site, cut it into portable pieces, then carry it back to the cave. Several trips, difficult, exhausting, but it is the only option. You take out your stone knives, sharp blades, obsidian, volcanic glass, the sharpest natural material, sharp enough to rival a surgical blade. It cuts through the meat with ease. You begin processing the first reindeer. You carefully remove the hide because the hide is valuable. It will be used for new clothing, for new shoes. You make precise cuts, expert cuts. You do not cut into the meat, only the hide. It is a slow process. It takes an hour, but the hide comes off intact. No tears, no holes, perfect. Then comes the meat. You cut through the large muscles, the hind legs, the front legs, the back, the neck. Each muscle is separated. The meat is separated from the bones. The joints are separated. How do you know where to cut? Experience. You have processed dozens of reindeer. You know the anatomy. You know where the joints are. You know where the muscles are. Everything is stored in your memory. Then the organs are removed. The liver, heart, and kidneys are all edible. All of them are nutritious. The liver is especially valuable. It is a rich source of vitamin A. but you have to be careful because too much liver can be toxic. Vitamin A poisoning. Polar bear liver can be deadly, but reindeer liver is safe when consumed in moderation. The bones are broken open. A heavy stone is used, a powerful strike. The bone cracks open. The marrow is removed. The valuable marrow is eaten immediately. In the cold, it is raw, fresh, and rich in energy. The entire process takes 3 hours, 3 reindeer, 3 hours, exhausting work. Your fingers are freezing in the cold. Every now and then you put them under your armpits. You warm them up. Then you continue. There's no time to stop because night is approaching. Darkness is dangerous. Predators come out at night. Cave lions, cave hyenas, very dangerous animals. You pack the meat into leather bags and carry it on your backs. Everyone carries something. The maximum load might be 30 kilograms, maybe even more. Heavy, very heavy, but valuable, life-saving. You head back to the cave. It is a long walk. You are exhausted and carrying heavy loads. You move slowly, but you keep going. The sun is setting. You need to hurry. You have to reach the cave before darkness. An hour later, you see the cave. It is still far away, but you can see it. You feel relieved. You are almost safe. One final effort, one last burst of strength. You keep moving. When you reach the cave, everyone welcomes you with excitement. Meat. So much meat. The children shout with joy. The women smile. The elders nod their heads. Approval, pride, good hunters, successful hunters. You store the meat near the entrance of the cave. It is a natural freezer, safe beneath the snow. It will not spoil. Whenever it is needed, it will be taken out, cooked, and eaten. Dinner is abundant tonight. Fresh meat is cooked over the fire, slowly on hot stones. The fat begins to melt. The smell is incredible, mouth-watering. Everyone gets their share, an equal share, because the tribe stays together. The hunters receive a little more because they took the risk. But the difference is small. There is fairness. There is sharing. You eat until you are full, until you cannot eat anymore. Perhaps this is the first time you have felt this full. Usually you live with a little hunger, but today there is abundance. You eat a lot. The extra energy is stored as body fat for the bad days ahead. That evening, everyone gathers around the fire, warm, comfortable, full, peaceful. The day was successful. The hunt was successful. Life continues. But outside, the world is still freezing. The wind howls. You can hear it coming from the cave entrance. A whistling sound, a frightening sound. But you are inside. You are safe. The fire is burning. It keeps you warm. You protect it. Days pass, then weeks, then months. Winter continues. It seems endless. Winter began in October. Now it is February. 4 months. But it is not over. Perhaps another 2 months remain. March, April, a long winter. You have a routine. Every day is similar. You wake up in the morning. You feed the fire. You eat. Then you work. The men hunt, collect firewood, or make tools. The women process hides, make clothing, make shoes, and care for the children. The elders tell stories and pass on their knowledge. Everyone has a role, everyone contributes. Processing a hide is a long process. First, the hide is cleaned. Fat and pieces of meat are scraped from the inner side. It takes hours with a stone scraper. Then the hide is softened. How? With the animal's brain. The brain of the animal that was killed is crushed. It is mixed with water. Then it is rubbed into the hide thoroughly. The enzymes soften the fibers of the hide. They make it flexible. They also help make it water resistant. Then the hide is dried. Slowly, naturally, it is stretched tightly over a wooden frame. You wait for it to dry. Over the next few days, you rub it from time to time to keep it flexible. Eventually, the result is soft, flexible, durable leather. It can now be used to make clothing, but making clothing is another process. First, the leather is cut and shaped. The measurements are approximate. There is no precise measuring. You rely on your eyes and your experience. Then it is sewn with a needle, a bone needle, a thin piece of bone carefully shaped from an animal bone. There is a small hole at the tip, a tiny hole for threading. The thread is made from sinew, animal sinew, thin, strong. The stitches are durable. The clothing is built to last. Making a single garment can take several days, perhaps a week. It is a long process. It requires patience and skill, but the result is life-saving because clothing protects you from the cold. Without clothing, you would freeze. Tool making is the work of the men, especially stone knapping. It requires a very special skill. Not everyone can do it, only the experts. Drog is a master, the best stone napper. He holds the flint in his hand and examines it carefully. Are there any cracks? Is the internal structure uniform? Is it good quality stone? Yes, good stone. It can be used. He takes his hammer. Stone, a hammer stone, a hard stone. He strikes carefully. Each strike is calculated, a specific angle, a specific amount of force. A flake breaks away, a broad flake, a thin Levallois flake. Then he works the flake, he shapes the edges, he retouches them. With small, precise strikes, he creates a sharp edge, a serrated edge, very sharp, like a blade. The result is a perfect tool, a knife, a scraper, a piercing tool, a spear point. One tool can serve many purposes. These tools keep you alive. Without tools, you cannot hunt. You cannot process hides. You cannot survive. Sometimes there are storms, huge storms, snowstorms, blizzards. The wind becomes stronger, perhaps 100 kilometers per hour, maybe even more. Snow flies horizontally through the air. Visibility drops to almost zero. You cannot see more than a meter ahead. The sound is terrifying, howling, screaming, as if the world is coming to an end. During these storms, nobody goes outside. If you do, you will get lost. You might not even be able to find the cave a few meters away. You will freeze to death. So you stay inside, all together, gathered around the fire, holding each other, waiting. The storm can last for days, 2 days, 3 days, sometimes even a week. Terrifying, because if you cannot go outside, you cannot collect firewood. If the wood runs out, the fire goes out, the cold enters, and death follows. That is why you always keep a supply of wood. There is a large stockpile inside the cave, perhaps enough for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Security. A life insurance policy. 3 years ago, Orgun's father disappeared during the storm. He went outside during a blizzard. We do not know why. Perhaps he had to relieve himself. Perhaps there was another reason. But he went outside. He walked only a few meters. He could not return. He could not find the cave. He got lost. We heard his voice. We heard him shouting, calling for help. But we could not find him. Visibility was zero. The next day the storm stopped. We searched for him. We found him 20 meters away, frozen, dead, a tragedy, but also a lesson. No one ever goes outside during a storm. Sometimes people get sick, colds, coughing, fever. Pneumonia is dangerous, very dangerous, because there is no medicine, no antibiotics, only the body fighting the illness. Sometimes it wins, sometimes it loses. Last winter, 2 children died. Pneumonia. One was 5 years old, the other was 3. They coughed, their fevers rose, they struggled to breathe. A few days later they died. Their mothers cried, their fathers remained silent, but the pain was the same. Losing a child is the most painful loss. You do not know how to prevent it. There is no hygiene, no soap. Everyone lives in the same place, very close together. Disease spreads quickly. If one person gets sick, others become sick too. A chain reaction, sometimes the entire tribe becomes ill. Most recover, but some die, especially children, especially the elderly, especially the weak. Life expectancy is short, perhaps around 35 years, maybe less. Very few people reach 40. 50 is ancient, almost legendary. Why is life so short? There are many reasons. Disease, injuries, hunting accidents, complications during childbirth, starvation, cold, predator attacks. Danger is everywhere all the time, but life continues because the birth rate is high. Women give birth at a young age, 15, 16. They have many children, 5, 6, 7, but many die young. Infant mortality is high, perhaps 40 to 50%, a horrifying rate. But at that time, it is normal. You're lucky. You're 30 years old. You survived. You survived countless dangers. You are strong, healthy, experienced. You are a valuable member of the tribe. Then one day something different happens. Spring is approaching. March, early April. The sun is higher in the sky. The days are getting slightly longer. The temperature is rising. It is still cold, but it is no longer minus 35 degrees, perhaps minus 15, maybe minus 10. Things are getting better. The snow begins to melt slowly, very slowly, but it is melting. Water begins to flow. Small streams appear. Life begins to awaken. Plants begin to sprout. Animals return. Herds come back from the north. Reindeer, bison, horses. Food becomes more abundant. Hunting becomes easier. Tika. Only human strength. Everything is carried on your backs. You leave the cave. You put out the fire, because you will not be coming back, at least not this year, maybe next winter. Maybe you will find another cave. You do not know. But now you are leaving. You walk. The group consists of 20 people, men, women, children, and elders. Everyone moves together, slowly. The children are slow. The elders are slow, but you are patient. You do not leave anyone behind. The community moves as one. You travel perhaps 10 kilometers a day, maybe less. It is exhausting. But every day you move a little farther north. Your destination is a large lake. You know where it is because you went there last year. You go there every year. Seasonal migration, winter in the south, summer in the north, a routine. 2 weeks later, you reach the lake, a huge lake. The ice has begun to melt. Open water appears along the edges. The center is still frozen, but it will melt soon. Within a few weeks, you set up camp, a temporary camp. You build tents, a wooden frame, animal hide stretched over it. Large pieces of leather are sewn together, a large tent. Most of the tribe can fit inside. Simple but effective. It blocks the wind. It keeps out the rain. You begin fishing with spears in shallow water. With careful observation, you can see the fish beneath the surface. They move slowly. The water is cold. Their metabolism is slow. They are easier to catch. You thrust your spear, a hit. You pull out the fish, a large fish, perhaps 5 kilograms, delicious, nutritious. You also collect bird eggs. Along the shore, there are bird colonies, thousands of birds. They build nests, they lay eggs. You collect them carefully. The birds attack you. They peck at you, but you are not afraid. The eggs are valuable. Protein, fat, vitamins. You collect a lot, baskets full of eggs. Your diet becomes more diverse. During winter, you ate mostly meat, but now you have fish, eggs, fresh plants, young shoots, vitamin C, vitamin K. It is important because vitamin deficiencies can occur during winter. There is a risk of scurvy, tooth loss, bleeding gums, but eating fresh plants can help prevent it. Your health improves. The children become more energetic, happier. because during winter they were always inside in the dark cave, but now they are outside, playing in the sunlight, running, laughing, joy, life. Summer continues. June, July, August, warm days, warm by Stone Age standards, perhaps 18 to 20 degrees Celsius, cool by modern standards. But for you it feels warm, comfortable, beautiful. Food is abundant, hunting is easier, fish are plentiful, there is a variety of plants, life is easier, relatively speaking. Compared with winter, it feels like paradise. You begin storing food, drying meat. Thin slices of meat are left in the sun and wind. After several days, they become completely dry. The water evaporates, the protein becomes concentrated, the meat becomes lighter, and it lasts much longer. You are preparing for winter. Fish is dried too, the same method. It is also smoked. The smoke gives it a special flavor. It also helps preserve the food. It kills bacteria. You collect berries, wild blueberries, rose hips, other fruits. They are valuable. Some are eaten fresh, some are dried, left in the sun, stored as a source of vitamins for winter. Then autumn arrives, September, October, the temperature drops, the days become shorter, animals begin to migrate, birds fly south, winter is approaching. Once again it is time to make a decision. Where will you spend the winter? Which cave? You go exploring. Several hunters search for a suitable cave, one facing south, sheltered, spacious, dry. A few days later you find one. A perfect cave, better than last year's, larger, more sheltered. You migrate once again to the new cave, your new home. You store firewood, you store food, preparation, winter preparation, because winter will come. It always does, cold, merciless. But you are ready. As always, you will survive because you know how. You are experienced. The knowledge of your ancestors lives within you. The knowledge of survival. But what does modern science say? What do archaeological discoveries show us? A great deal. Incredible things. Fossils are found, skeletons, bones, and they tell us their story, what they ate, how they lived, and how they died. Dental analysis. There is wear on the teeth. What does microscopic wear tell us? They were chewing hard foods, meat, tough foods. Then there is dental calculus analysis. Inside the tartar, researchers find traces of plants, pollen, starch grains. This tells us something important. They were eating plants too. They were not eating only meat. Their diet was diverse. Then there is bone chemistry, isotope analysis, carbon isotope ratios, nitrogen isotope ratios. What do they show? A high protein diet, a diet heavily based on meat. But there are also traces of aquatic foods, fish, freshwater fish, and sometimes the marine fish in coastal regions. Then there are signs of trauma on fossil bones, fractures, healed fractures. This tells us they were injured, but they survived. How? Simple treatment, splints, rest, the body healed itself. Sometimes the bones healed incorrectly, bent bones, but they survived. There are also signs of frostbite on the fingertips, on the toes, changes in the bones. This tells us they experienced severe cold. They were exposed to freezing temperatures, but they survived. They adapted. Then there are the tools. Thousands of stone tools have been discovered across these regions. Flint, obsidian, quartz, knives, scrapers, piercing tools, spear points, advanced technology, sophisticated craftsmanship. There are also bone tools, needles, perforated needles. Some of them date back around 25,000 years. What does that tell us? They were making sewn clothing. Excellent clothing, because sewn clothing could prevent frostbite. It could save your life. Then there are shelter remains, caves, evidence of fire, charred wood, burned bones, heating, cooking. In almost every cave, fire was at the center of life, but sometimes they lived in open air camps. Structures made from mammoth bones have been discovered in Siberia. Incredible structures. Mammoth bones were arranged like a skeleton. Then hides were placed over them. A tent. When there was no cave, they built their own shelter. Creativity, adaptation. Then there is art. Cave paintings. Lascaux, Altamira, Chauvet, magnificent paintings. Animals, mammoths, bison, horses, deer. We do not know exactly why they created them. Maybe rituals, maybe hunting magic, maybe simply art, a way to express themselves, a way to be human. Then there are the Venus figurines, small sculptures, female figures, often with exaggerated body shapes. Why? Perhaps they were symbols of fertility. Perhaps they represented beauty. At that time, a well-fed woman may have represented health. A healthy woman could give birth. That made her valuable to the community. There are also musical instruments, bone flutes made from mammoth bone, and bird bones. Small holes were carefully made in them. When you blow into them, they produce sound, music. They were making music. They were enjoying themselves. They were performing rituals. Life was not only about survival. Quality of life mattered too. Then there are burials, deliberate burials, graves containing objects, tools, beads, red ochre, rituals. This suggests they had beliefs about death, a spiritual world, beliefs, perhaps religion. So, what does all of this tell us? Stone Age humans were not primitive, not at all. They were sophisticated, intelligent, creative, and highly adaptable. They survived under some of the most difficult conditions imaginable. How? First, fire, controlled fire, perhaps for 400,000 years, maybe even longer. Warmth, cooking, protection, light, everything. Without fire, they could not have survived the Ice Age. Second, clothing, sewn clothing, layered clothing, insulation, protection. The invention of the needle was revolutionary. Sewn clothing changed the game in the fight against the cold. Third, shelter, caves, tents, bone structures, protection from the wind, protection from the cold, protection from predators, a safe place. Fourth, social structure, community, cooperation, sharing, hunting together, working together, protecting one another. A person alone might not survive, but a community could. Fifth, the transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next. The elders taught the young how to make tools, how to hunt, which plants to eat, how to survive, oral traditions, stories, experience, knowledge, accumulated wisdom. Six, adaptation, flexibility, the ability to survive in different environments, different strategies. In winter, meat, in summer, fish and plants. A diverse diet, flexible strategies. Seventh, innovation, technological development, better tools, better weapons. The atlatl, the needle, constant improvement, constant learning. And the result? Stone Age humans were remarkable. Physical endurance, mental flexibility, social cooperation, technological innovation. All of these